Enough with the appetizers, on to the main course. A third version of the movie was made in 2007, this time actually called I Am Legend, starring Will Smith. This movie sits at about a happy medium plot-wise from the other two movies. It has the slow, atmospheric parts of The Last Man on Earth, as well as the high action parts of The Omega Man. It's not a perfect marriage, but a lot of it does work. It's clearly the weakest of the three, but that's not really saying much when you compare them to the other two, which are deservedly classics. I know, the name of this two-parter is Will Smith's sci-fi film adaptations suck, but actually a grand majority of this movie really works. It's only absolutely ruined by the ending. An ending, by the way, which was done in reshoot because the original ending didn't test very well. So this is an example of what I would like to call how focus groups are destroying the world. Screw you, test audiences. Screw you for taking what would have been another classic movie on par with its predecessors and turning it into a mindless popcorn flick. I really feel bad for Will for this one, because his acting throughout it is really good. It holds up against the other two, and when the other two are Charlton Heston and Vincent Price, you can see how high of praise that is. So let's get to the nitty-gritty of it. In this movie, Robert Neville, played by Will Smith, has a wife and daughter, and even has a dog named Sam.
I am Sam. Sam I am.
An interesting side note, Will Smith's daughter in this movie is played by his actual daughter, Willow Smith. The story here is that scientists have mutated the measles virus in an attempt to cure cancer. I know, just go with it. And some of it got out. Neville, as a military viralist again, is working on a cure. In this version, his wife and daughter die in a helicopter explosion right in front of his eyes. Tragic, yes, but after seeing Vincent Price have to watch as his wife and daughter slowly die to the virus in front of him, I gotta say, Will Smith's character got off easy. And besides, Will Smith gets his daughter's dog, so his character actually has a living companion. Like the ones before it, the main body of this film shows Neville dealing with the fact that he's the last man on Earth, spending his days hunting down the infected and working on a cure, while spending his nights holed up in his personal fortress. The infected in this movie are probably the closest to the original book. While they lose the fact that they're dead and have classic vampire weaknesses, as they did in The Last Man on Earth, they also lose the weak zombie-like qualities that they had in The Last Man on Earth. They are shown to be physically very strong and fast, and also very intelligent, setting traps to lure in Neville, but I'll get back to that when I talk about the ending. They also have pale skin and the inability to go out during sunlight like the others. Also, in this movie, for the first time, we get to see infected animals, as they have infected dogs. This main character out of the three seems the most stable because he keeps up his sanity by talking to mannequins.
Good morning, Jesse. What? You stop doing that? I can't tell if you're kidding or not. Jesse? Hello? Oh, no. Oh, come on, Jesse. Come on. You're real. Yes, you are. Come on. Come on, baby. Come on.
No, seriously. This might sound like it's crazy, but he does manage to keep reality and fantasy separate, if only by a thread.
What the hell are you doing out here, Fred? How did you get out here?
While in The Last Man on Earth, we see Vincent Price manically laughing and crying watching his home movies. And we get Charlton Heston thinking all the phones are ringing in Omega Man.
There is no phone ringing, damn it! There is no phone.
Like I said, this movie builds great atmosphere with all the lonely parts, showing him with things like talking to the mannequins. And Will does an amazing job acting in it. Like, for instance, there's one scene where the dog gets infected, and, well...
It's Old Yeller. He's rabid. What you gonna do now, Ma? Only one thing to do.
It's my dog, Ma. I'll do it.
All right.
Again, like in all versions, a woman ends up coming and joining the hero. Like Morgan in The Last Man on Earth, Neville periodically sends out radio signals in the hopes that there's someone out there to pick up. Unlike Morgan, Neville actually reaches someone, and Anna drives to Manhattan. And this one has a son, Ethan. They tell Neville that they believe there's a stronghold of uninfected humans to the north, and that they should go there. Neville, however, believes that his research on the current infected woman he has in the basement is going well, and that he needs to stay in Manhattan to continue his research. Unfortunately, that night, the infected finally find his stronghold and attack. It is now that we come to the coup de grace, the ending. In the original ending, Neville, Anna, and Ethan get holed up in Neville's laboratory, and then the Alpha infected comes and through symbols communicates with Neville that what he really wants is the woman that Neville has in the lab. It's at this point that Neville realizes that the infected aren't the mindless brutes that he thought they were, but are in fact thinking, feeling beings that he has been torturing and murdering in the name of science. He lets the Alpha in, who leaves with his mate, and they part on good terms. This thought-provoking and interesting ending tested badly, so instead, we have the infected, still mindless brutes, pointlessly breaking through to Neville so they can kill him, for the fun of it, I guess? Neville then sacrifices himself with a kamikaze grenade run, allowing Anna and Ethan to hide in a vault until daybreak, then drive off to the human stronghold that does in fact exist, and Anna in voiceover gives the cop-out reasoning for the movie having the book's title.
In 2009, a deadly virus burned through our civilization, pushing humankind to the edge of extinction. Dr. Robert Neville dedicated his life to the discovery of a cure and the restoration of humanity. On September 9th, 2012, at approximately 8:49 p.m., he discovered that cure. And at 8:52, he gave his life to defend it. We are his legacy. This is his legend.
What the hell? Oh, let's forget about the source material and a complex and compelling story. No, we need our hero to go out in a blaze of glory, not realize what he's been doing is wrong. The director of this movie, Francis Lawrence, has one previous directing credit to his name, that being Constantine, the film adaptation of the comic series Hellraiser. It's also a cop-out successful version of the story that's known for flipping the bird to fans of the original work. What's more egregious is I could tell that this was a cop-out ending before I even read the book or saw either of the previous versions. You know why? Because it doesn't make sense in the movie itself. As I said before, there are scenes earlier where the infected show signs of intelligence, most notably the Neville trap. There's a scene in which one of Neville's mannequin friends is inexplicably moved to the middle of a street. When Neville goes to investigate it, he sets off a trap, leaving him hanging there so that the infected can get to him after sunset. Neville barely gets out of it in time, but his dog wasn't so lucky. So these infected are smart enough to know that they need to keep Neville out during the night, follow his patterns enough to know what bait to use on him and where to put it where it will catch his attention, and set up a subtle and complex enough trap to catch their intelligent adversary. Also in this scene, we see that they have domesticated infected dogs, which they have leashed and can send to sick Neville, while they stay in the relative safety of the building. This isn't even the only example of the infected intelligence, but it's the most prominent one that remained in the film, because it would have been impossible to take out.
Nobody will ever notice that. Filmmaking is not about the tiny details, it's about the big picture.
So to sum up, I Am Legend was an amazing, classic film that never made it to theaters. Because, well, how focus groups are destroying the world. If this movie had its original ending, it would have been an amazing film on par with the previous two movies, which is not something you can say often about a remake. But they decided to go with this cheap ending that turned it into a forgettable summer flick with a huge plot hole that just happened to have some really good acting in it. And so, for some final thoughts, I thought I'd bring in world-renowned film critic Jay Sherman.
Oh, well, I've created a new scale that shows which diseases I'd rather have than watch this movie. Well, we're past scurvy, leprosy, unidentified yellow discharge, and the winner is spastic colon. Good night.
Thanks, Jay. So that was I Am Legend. Stay tuned for next week where I take off my kid gloves and review a movie I truly hate.
Okay, John, it's time at the bar. I can't find the switches! Get the fuses! Queen's still on! We have a situation! I know! Fuck this! Hey, 2 seconds!
We're coming to kill you, Morgan.
He's 2 houses down.
Oh, sorry.
Damn zombie, vampire, whatever they are.